My name is Paul Barrett. I'm CEO of Resources. We are a tin explorer in the DRC, having just completed a drilling program, so here to discuss what happens next.
Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. I'm just sort of dialing in to get an update on the situation on the ground. You've had to kind of curtail the current drill plans. What's happening?
Well, yes, you're right. I mean, Alphamin and ourselves have both decided to temporarily suspend operations, and we are a little bit slightly ahead of where we wanted to suspend. I mean, we've got two holes, 24 and 26, which were really good in terms of visible tin and copper mineralization. And so we've got those samples off-site and on the route to Kisangani now. They're probably in Kisangani by now. And so we will have those to add to the large number of holes that we've had in the previous campaign and also in this campaign that we put together for a resource analysis over the coming, 6 weeks, that kind of thing. The timetable for that is going to be determined really by how quickly these assays come back, how quickly we can get them to Johannesburg, and then the results.
Right, okay. And just to kind of first things first, in terms of obviously everyone's okay, is preventative measure, etc. Have you got a sense of timing on this? Because I sort of hearing news of potentially some talks happening as well.
There were talks actually between the presidents of DRC and Rwanda yesterday in Doha, where they effectively agreed a ceasefire. We will see how that pans out. I mean, for us, really, there's little point for us to go back to just do 2 or 3 extra holes. So we're keeping our options open. The rigs are still on site. We still can go back and then start up operations relatively easily. And so we would do that after the resource assessment, and then that will be as a bigger program if we went that way, which I think makes sense.
Your drills are on site. Who's looking after them? Are they still going to be there when you get back?
We have security on site, and the rigs, we can come back and restart the rigs. Quite a straightforward process. We don't really know how long it'll take, but we'll be ready to do it. As I say, 4 rigs just sitting there.
Right, okay. So in terms of timing, not quite sure, but talks are happening in Doha. Hope that this gets resolved. Actually, can you give me some sense of what's going on? So you've got both parties talking to each other. What was the genesis of this? Why the M23 move into DRC?
Well, I think the M23, I think part of the catalyst for this is the Congo River Alliance. So the M23 are part of that alliance of groups, put out a communique to say they're not interested in the Luanda talks, etc. So I think it was left to almost, in a way, the grown-ups in the room, the president of DRC and the president of Rwanda, to sit down and organise it in Doha. Qatar has become, the go-to negotiator. So they agreed that yesterday. So we're hopeful. I mean, Rwanda has obviously, over the course of this, has been quite clear that they said we're not supporting M23 and nothing to do with us, but actually this is clear that if Rwanda have any influence on M23, then they can make sure the ceasefire holds. So we shall see. I mean, I would give it a couple of weeks to see what happens.
Right. And what does this do in terms of staff and retained contractors and drillers, etc.? I mean, what's their view on this one? Will they be there when you want them to go back?
Oh, absolutely. So the staff that we have on site, or we had on site, and are now away from site, we will keep them on a retainer basis, so they'll be ready to come back whenever. The helicopter will relocate to Uganda, and it'll sit there. We don't know exactly how that's going to pan out, but effectively the drilling contracts are essentially force majeure, but they will be ready to come back. So there's no problem with that.
Okay. Obviously, I assume you coordinated all activities with Alphamin because they're in the same position as you. What can you tell us about the kind of dialogue with them, and what your joint thoughts are with regard to how to proceed?
Yes, well, of course, Alphamin is a much larger operation and an active mine, and so that's much more complicated for them. They can't just walk away and expect it to all be in working order when they come back, whereas we can. But we did coordinate with them. The guys have a good relationship with the operations people, so they're very helpful in terms of allowing us to charter a flight in to their airstrip, take all people out. Obviously, our helicopter came in handy for this operation. So yeah, it worked quite well. I mean, it's I don't know, to be honest, what Alpha Min's view is on how long this will all take to blow over. I'm not sure anybody knows, but I'm hopeful with the ceasefire talks and everything that things will calm down and we can get back to some sort of normality in a short order.
Okay, so look, as you're right, I think you're right. For Alpha Min, it's a much bigger deal. So as a production company producer, it's a bit harder to kind of shut down, a bit harder to kind of start up. It also means that things like supplies, logistical contracts in place, and those sorts of basically securing critical supplies for them is important. For you, maybe not so much. So what are you doing to kind of reduce your expenditures while you're not on site? Is there much difference, much change in the plan?
There will be. So while we're drilling, obviously the vast majority of expenditure for the company is in DRC. So clearly there will be no costs on the drilling or the helicopter. We've yet to come up with a number, but we're probably reducing our salary and overall running costs in DRC by about 50% during this operation. We will then bring down whatever we can in terms of UK overhead, which actually, to be honest, is relatively light, but it's still, every little bit helps. So yes, we're north of 2 point something million in the bank sterling at the moment. So we will, look after that as well as we can over the coming months. And clearly there's expenditures to be made on the assays and the geology, the resource numbers. So, but otherwise,
okay.
Yeah.
So what's with regards to the assays, because obviously these are external assays and external laboratories, you need to send these things away. With 24 and 26, what do you say the position was with them?
They should be in Kisangani now. They'll have to go to Rashi to be prepped and then sent to Johannesburg. So I'm thinking that's probably 2 weeks from now, and assays are now promised after a bit of harsh talking, from when they arrive at the lab to results, about 10 days. So we're probably talking between 3 or 4 weeks from today.
Right. Okay. So everything outside of the mines, the drill site, it runs as normal, but you will be obviously monitoring the speed at which you spend your money, and if you allocate your money, you talk in the game of kind of reducing costs where you can, but at the same time you could also maybe talk about how do you keep advancing things as well. So what are the things that you're looking at that you can advance?
Well, we can advance while we're not operating. We can advance obviously the geology and the resource work. We can look at potential additional projects in the surrounding area, or whatever the board decides, we will do it. And as I said, we're in a pretty good position for a junior explorer of having cash in the bank, so we can look at quite a few things. But the key is to get this resource number out for the Kalai and the Montagoma prospects as the medium term goal the next few months. Couple of months.
And how do you kind of frame, because I think lots of companies kind of go through this of saying, well, maybe we need to get a resource out now, but it's there's lots more to come behind it. We'll keep drilling, we'll grow the resource. But sometimes when the market sees the first resource, they go, well, that's the size of the prize, and they stop thinking. How do you manage that, especially when you've done a lot less holes than you'd hope to be able to do because you've had to exit?
Well, it's not a lot less. It's only a couple. I mean, we were really only going to put in 2 or 3 more, so we were pretty much almost there. Obviously, every geologist likes to have more data than less, and so if money or operational constraints or timing was not an issue, we could have just said kept drilling. But there's still open. Montagoma certainly is open to the south in terms of the tin, so we haven't. That will still be open, and so that will probably be the next phase of investigation when we go back. So there's still more to do. Okay,
so and this is due. So what month are we looking at
for the resource?
Yeah, the inferred resource.
I would say late April, early May, that kind of thing. We'll probably do the both together. I think now that drilling's stopped and we can, once we get all the rest of the assays in, it'll be relatively short. It'll just be our in-house geologist finalising the model, and then we pass that through the competent person, and that will be a relatively quick process.
Okay, and we've talked in the past where you're starting to sort of see higher tin grades at depth. How has your sort of thinking evolved since we last spoke with regards to the geological model and indeed?
Well, the model's staying pretty much the same. I think with 24 and 26 we do have, excuse me, because we do have this wide copper zone in both, and there are tin cassiterite veins within this. Yeah, there are clear visible tin within these cassiterite zones within that sequence. What the tin concentrate tin grade is within the host rock either side of the veins, we don't know. We do know that obviously the veins are almost pure cassiterite, but we don't know what the grades are across the way. And if they are decent in the host rock, then we'll have a wide intercept with the veins within it. So time will tell. A bit of patience required, I guess.
Time will tell and patience, obviously. Obviously, when you look to kind of come back on site, I guess, do you think you will adjust your plans any given the M23 situation, or do you think, like, if there is a kind of peace agreement settled, that you will crack on as before? I mean, is there any degree of hesitancy, I guess, about the future from your perspective?
I don't think so. I think it worked very well. The intel, the local kind of knowledge of how things were going, the fact we had the helicopter, the fact we've got the guys out from Mint helped us out, and we've got road access to Osakari to take out anything that we need to take out. So yeah, it worked very well actually, and pleasantly surprised by the smooth running of the exit, and I think it'll just be back to normal. Would only take a few days to organise that as well.
Okay, so you're not looking to kind of implement some kind of broader regional strategy as a result of this. You like what you've got, and you think you can get back there and get after it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just checking in really, just to see how things are, how you're treating it, and if plans are changing, and how it's affecting you financially. So, please reach out when you've got more news. Certainly when these 2 holes come back as well.
Yeah, sure. Oh yes, we'll do.